In this video, we're going to show you how to install the brake flex hose on your Jeep Wrangler located at each front wheel. Using a 19mm socket, go ahead, loosen and remove your lug nuts. Once you remove the lug nuts, remove the wheel and set it aside. Now we have our brake line here, and it comes up and it goes to the hard line right here, and it is bolted to the chassis here. That is held in place by a T40 Torx bit screw. Now we're able to loosen this a little bit we ended up using a 9mm, might be a different size. Ours had so much rust on there, that's what we ended up using. So we were able to break the nut free here, but the hard line itself was bound up inside, so we can unthread this one here. What you normally want to do is unthread this here from this connection, then remove this screw and move over to the caliper. We're going to have to undo our bolt here, undo the bolt at the back side of the caliper, and unthread this flex line from the hard line without twisting the hard line here. So let's go ahead and work on that. And on the back side here, right where the hose connects to the back side of the caliper, I want to go ahead and use your 14mm socket. Now brake fluid is going to come out of the hose as well as the caliper. Have a catch can or a bucket underneath to catch that fluid. Once you remove this here, pull the bolt out. Go ahead and set that bolt aside. Now you want to look on the back side of the caliper as well. You should have a copper washer on each side of this hose here. If there isn't one, you might want to check the back side, make sure that there isn't one there. Now we can go ahead and come on up to this other line, and we're simply going to unthread this off of that hard line there. Now normally what you would do is this nut here would be free spinning on the hard line. Ours is spinning, it's pretty tight, so what we're going to do is simply line this up, and we're going to thread our hose onto here. I'm going to spin this so it's kind of snug right there. At this point here, let's go ahead and get the Torx bit bolt started into that. Let's go ahead and line up that bracket. Now we're not going to tighten that down yet. Our next step is to take one of the copper washers that is supplied with the hose, put that onto our banjo bolt. Make sure that you position the brake line the way it would be going on. Put the bolt through the outside, put the second copper washer onto the banjo bolt, and line that up, and we're going to thread that bolt into our brake caliper. Now I have that threaded most of the way by hand. I'm just going to use my impact, and I'm gently going to snug that down for now. Now let's go ahead and tighten down our torque spit screw here. Snug that down. I want to make sure that that bracket is nice and tight. Use your wrench, and you want to tighten down the hard line here next. Now that we have the flex line put in here, next thing we're going to do is bleed the brake line. Because we introduced air into the system, that's going to produce a soft, spongy brake pedal, and that is a safety concern. Right here, you're going to find a little rubber cap. You may not find that cap, it might have come off, but underneath right here is what we call a bleeder screw. I want to go ahead and crack this open, and this is going to go ahead and purge out any of the air that's in the line. So let's go ahead and do that. Now this particular bleeder screw is a 3/8, so we're going to use our 1/4 inch ratchet with our socket. We want to go ahead and loosen this. Now we did open this up here, and what we're going to do now is going to wait to see brake fluid come out of here. So right now brake fluid should be coming through, filling up inside the piston, and it'll come up atop here. Now once you have a solid stream of brake fluid coming out there, go ahead and snug that bleeder screw back down. Snug it down gently, you don't want to over tighten it. Then we're going to go ahead and spray that with some solvent. We don't want to have any of that brake fluid get on our brake pads. Clean that up, give it a quick wipe down. Go ahead and take your rubber cap, pop that back on. Once you've done this here, you want to hop into the vehicle. Pump up the brakes, make sure that the brake pedal feels good. If it's still soft and spongy, you got to come back and repeat the brake bleeding process. If the pedal feels good, go ahead and throw your wheel on and you're all set. After you've bled the brakes, you want to come on up top here and pay attention to your brake fluid reservoir underneath the hood. There is an add dot and a full dot. If you need to add fluid, simply open up the cap, add the DOT3 fluid as necessary, fill it up to the full dot, and then install your cap. Some cases you won't have to add anything. It just dribbles a little bit out of that hose down below or out of the caliper. Not a major issue, but make sure that this is at the full mark. Good, install your wheel. Get our lug nuts threaded on here. Once we have all these started a few threads, we'll go ahead and snug them down. Go ahead and torque down your lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds. And you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.